Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a moment to reflect on a paradox that shapes our existence. We crave freedom, yet we often run from the very thing that grants it discipline. True freedom is not about doing whatever we want, whenever we want. It is about aligning our actions with a higher purpose, a deeper meaning. It is in mastering ourselves that we discover the keys to liberation. Consider the flow of a river. Without its banks, it becomes a flood, chaotic and destructive. But with boundaries, it moves gracefully, carving paths through landscapes, nourishing life along the way. Discipline is the structure that guides our energy, the framework that allows creativity, spontaneity, and joy to flourish without spilling into chaos. Yet we live in an age that glorifies instant gratification. We chase fleeting pleasures, mistaking them for happiness. But what do we find at the end of that chase? A deeper emptiness, a gnawing sense of dissatisfaction. Discipline teaches us patience, the wisdom to delay gratification for something greater. It is in that patience that we plant the seeds of fulfillment and watch them grow. To discipline yourself is not to imprison your spirit, but to liberate it. Without self-mastery, you are a slave to external forces, to impulses and whims. But with discipline, you become the author of your story, shaping your destiny with intention and care. And perhaps most importantly, discipline is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you are worthy of growth, worthy of effort, and worthy of the life you aspire to create. It is not a punishment, but a profound kindness you show to yourself. So I urge you, embrace discipline, not as a burden, but as a path to freedom. Let it be the compass that guides you through the wilderness of life, helping you find your true north. For in disciplining yourself, you do not lose your essence, you find it. Thank you. True freedom is a concept often misunderstood, a notion that people equate with doing whatever they want, whenever they want. However, this approach frequently leads not to liberation, but to a subtle kind of enslavement to impulses, fleeting desires, and external influences. To truly grasp the essence of freedom, one must delve deeper and understand that it is not the absence of constraints, but the presence of mastery over one's own impulses and choices. This mastery comes through discipline, the quiet force that transforms chaos into harmony and potential into reality. Imagine a person who gives in to every urge, who follows every whim without reflection. At first glance, this might look like freedom, a life free from rules or limitations. But look closer, and you'll find a pattern emerging, an endless cycle of chasing temporary pleasures that often lead to long-term dissatisfaction. The freedom of doing anything at any time comes at a cost, the inability to achieve anything meaningful. When every moment is dictated by impulse, the ability to focus, to strive for a goal, to commit to a purpose is lost. This lack of direction and purpose creates a life that feels scattered, leaving a person yearning for something deeper, but unable to grasp it. Discipline, on the other hand, is often viewed as the antithesis of freedom. People see it as restrictive, a kind of self-imposed cage that stifles spontaneity and joy. But this view overlooks the profound power of discipline to liberate. By disciplining yourself, you create space for what truly matters. You learn to prioritize long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification, aligning your actions with the goals and values that define your sense of purpose. It's not about denying yourself pleasures, but choosing pleasures that are enduring, meaningful, and in harmony with your deepest aspirations. Think of a musician, for example, someone who practices daily to perfect their craft. At first, the discipline of practice may feel monotonous, even burdensome. There are scales to master, techniques to refine, and countless hours of repetition. But with time, something remarkable happens. The disciplined practice unlocks a level of skill and expression that makes true artistry possible. The musician becomes free to create, to improvise, to move audiences in profound ways. Without the foundation of discipline, that freedom would remain out of reach, a mere illusion. The same principle applies to all aspects of life. Discipline is not about rigidly adhering to a set of rules, but about creating a structure within which you can thrive. It's about setting boundaries that protect your time, energy, and focus so that you can direct them toward what truly matters. When you discipline yourself, you are not denying your freedom, you are refining it. You are choosing to channel your efforts into pursuits that resonate with your highest self rather than scattering them aimlessly. In this way, discipline becomes a tool for self-discovery. When you exercise discipline, You gain clarity about your priorities and values. You start to see the difference between what is essential and what is merely a distraction. This clarity is liberating because it frees you from the tyranny of endless choices and the anxiety of not knowing what to do next. Instead of being overwhelmed by possibilities, you focus on what truly matters, creating a sense of purpose and direction that is deeply fulfilling. The interplay between discipline and freedom can also be understood through the analogy of physical fitness. Consider someone who is out of shape and avoids exercise because it feels restrictive or uncomfortable. They might say they want the freedom to relax, to eat what they please, and to avoid the discipline of regular workouts. But this so-called freedom often leads to limitations, reduced energy, poor health, and an inability to enjoy life fully. Contrast this with someone who disciplines themselves to exercise regularly, to eat mindfully, and to care for their body. At first, this discipline might seem restrictive, but over time it grants a kind of freedom the undisciplined person cannot experience, the freedom to move, to explore, to live with vitality and joy. Discipline also frees you from the chains of regret. One of the most subtle yet profound ways we become enslaved is through the weight of missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. When you lack discipline, it's easy to drift through life, postponing goals, avoiding challenges, and settling for less than you're capable of achieving. But this avoidance often leads to a lingering sense of dissatisfaction, a quiet regret that gnaws at the edges of your consciousness. Discipline, by contrast, ensures that you take action, that you face challenges head-on, and that you make the most of your talents and opportunities. It prevents you from becoming a passive observer in your own life and empowers you to shape your destiny actively. Moreover, discipline cultivates a kind of inner freedom that is immune to external circumstances. Life is unpredictable, full of challenges and setbacks that can leave you feeling powerless. But when you discipline yourself, you build resilience and self-reliance. You learn to adapt, to persevere, and to find strength within yourself. This inner freedom is perhaps the most profound form of liberation, because it cannot be taken away by external forces. It is a freedom rooted in self-mastery, in the knowledge that you can face whatever comes your way with courage and grace. By disciplining yourself, you embrace a deeper understanding of freedom. You move beyond the superficial notion of doing whatever you want and step into a space where your actions are guided by intention and purpose. This is the freedom that discipline offers, the freedom to become the best version of yourself, to live a life that is not only meaningful but also profoundly fulfilling. Life, in all its richness and complexity, thrives in the delicate balance between chaos and order. Chaos is the unbridled energy of the universe, the force of creation and destruction, the untamed wildness from which all possibilities emerge. Order, on the other hand, is the structure, the pattern, and the stability that gives form to those possibilities, transforming potential into reality. To navigate life successfully, one must understand and embrace this interplay, for it is neither pure chaos nor rigid order that leads to fulfillment, but the harmonious dance between the two. Discipline becomes the rhythm of that dance, a guiding force that allows us to flow gracefully between the currents of unpredictability and the need for structure. Imagine for a moment a symphony orchestra. Each instrument represents a unique voice, a distinct energy, and without a conductor or sheet music, these instruments might create a cacophony, a chaotic blend of sounds without coherence or direction. Yet, if the orchestra adheres too rigidly to rules, if the musicians follow their parts mechanically without emotion or creativity, the performance becomes lifeless, stripped of its vitality. The magic of a symphony lies in the balance, the discipline of each musician mastering their craft and following the structure of the composition, combined with the freedom to express themselves within those boundaries. This balance creates a sound that is not only beautiful but also alive. In our lives, chaos often appears as the unpredictable and uncontrollable elements of existence, the disruptions, the surprises, the moments when the unexpected demands our attention. Chaos is not inherently negative. In fact, it holds the seeds of creativity and innovation. It is the raw material from which new ideas, opportunities, and growth emerge. However, without discipline to shape and direct this energy, chaos can overwhelm, leaving us feeling lost and scattered. Discipline provides the framework within which chaos can be harnessed, much like the strings of a kite hold it steady as it soars in the wind. Order, by contrast, provides the stability and predictability that allows us to build and sustain a meaningful life. It is the foundation upon which we construct our habits, routines, and systems. Yet too much order can lead to stagnation, a life that feels rigid and uninspired. When we cling too tightly to structure, we close ourselves off to the spontaneity and creativity that chaos brings. Discipline becomes the bridge that connects these two forces, enabling us to move fluidly between the stability of order and the vitality of chaos. Consider the act of creating art. A painter begins with a blank canvas, a space of infinite potential, pure chaos. The first stroke of the brush introduces order, a decision that narrows the infinite possibilities into a particular path. As the painting progresses, the artist moves between these forces, allowing the chaos of inspiration and intuition to guide them while using the discipline of technique and composition to give their vision form. Without discipline, the painting might remain a formless mess of colors. Without chaos, it might lack soul and originality. It is the dynamic tension between these forces that brings the artwork to life. In the same way, our personal growth depends on our ability to navigate this balance. Chaos often manifests as challenges, changes, and disruptions, moments that push us out of our comfort zones and force us to adapt. These moments are uncomfortable but necessary, for they break down old patterns and open the door to transformation. Discipline allows us to face these challenges with resilience, to extract lessons from them, and to integrate those lessons into a stronger, more refined version of ourselves. It is through discipline that we take the raw energy of chaos and channel it into growth, rather than letting it consume us. On the other hand, discipline itself can become a source of stagnation if it is not balanced by a willingness to embrace the unknown. When we cling too rigidly to routines, plans, or expectations, we limit our ability to adapt and grow. Life is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of discipline can eliminate its uncertainties. The key is to use discipline not as a shield against chaos, but as a tool to engage with it creatively and constructively. This engagement is where growth, innovation, and transformation occur. The natural world offers countless examples of this interplay. Consider a forest, a place where chaos and order coexist in perfect harmony. The trees grow in seemingly random patterns, shaped by the forces of nature: sunlight, wind, water. Yet, within this apparent randomness, there is an underlying order: the ecosystem's balance, the cycles of growth and decay, the interdependence of every organism. The forest thrives because it embraces both chaos and order, allowing each to contribute to the whole. In our lives, discipline serves a similar function, helping us find harmony within the complexity and unpredictability of existence. Discipline also teaches us to embrace uncertainty rather than fear it. Chaos can be unsettling because it reminds us of the limits of our control, the unpredictability of the future. But when we approach chaos with discipline, we develop the confidence and resilience to face it without being overwhelmed. Discipline becomes the anchor that steadies us in the storm, allowing us to remain grounded while navigating the waves of change. It enables us to see chaos not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a partner in the dance of life, a source of energy and possibility that, when guided by discipline, leads to new horizons. Through discipline, we learn to find beauty in the interplay of chaos and order, to see challenges as opportunities for growth, and to approach life with both structure and spontaneity. This balance is not static but dynamic, requiring constant adjustment and awareness. Discipline becomes the thread that weaves these forces together, creating a life that is not only functional but also vibrant and meaningful. In the modern world, the allure of instant gratification looms large, constantly tempting us with promises of immediate pleasure and convenience. From the glow of our devices delivering on-demand entertainment to the convenience of one-click purchases, we are surrounded by a culture that prioritizes the here and now. It whispers that happiness lies in satisfying our desires as quickly as they arise, persuading us to equate ease with fulfillment. But beneath this veneer of satisfaction lies a deeper truth: instant gratification often leads not to lasting joy, but to a hollow sense of unease. It is a fleeting satisfaction, one that vanishes almost as quickly as it appears, leaving behind an emptiness that demands to be filled yet again. To understand the true impact of instant gratification, consider its mechanics. At its core, it appeals to the most primal parts of our brains, activating reward systems that evolved to ensure our survival in environments of scarcity. In such contexts, responding quickly to opportunities, be it food, shelter, or other resources, was essential. But in a world where abundance is the norm for many, this same mechanism works against us. It drives us to consume more than we need, to seek novelty endlessly, and to prioritize short-term rewards over long-term well-being. This pattern, repeated endlessly, creates a cycle of dependency that can leave us feeling out of control. Discipline, on the other hand, offers a profound alternative to this cycle. It asks us to pause, to reflect, and to choose deliberately rather than react impulsively. It is a practice of patience, of learning to delay gratification for the sake of something greater. This delay is not a denial of pleasure, but a recognition that true fulfillment often requires time, effort, and intention. Through discipline, we learn to see beyond the immediate moment, to consider the long-term consequences of our actions, and to align those actions with our deeper values and goals. Take the example of financial discipline. In a culture that encourages spending at every turn, the temptation to live beyond our means is ever present. The allure of instant gratification might lead someone to make impulsive purchases, chasing the brief thrill of acquisition. Yet over time, this behavior often results in debt, stress, and a sense of entrapment. Contrast this with the disciplined approach of saving and investing. While it may involve forgoing certain pleasures in the short term, it creates a foundation of security and freedom that allows for far greater opportunities in the future. The satisfaction of knowing you have the resources to pursue meaningful goals far outweighs the fleeting pleasure of a momentary indulgence. The principle extends far beyond finances. Consider relationships where the pursuit of instant gratification can lead to shallow connections, marked by a focus on immediate pleasure rather than the depth of understanding and trust that come with time. Building a meaningful relationship requires patience, effort, and a willingness to endure moments of discomfort and vulnerability. Discipline in this context means choosing to invest in communication, empathy, and commitment, even when it feels challenging. The reward, a bond that provides enduring love and support, is immeasurably greater than any transient thrill. Discipline also teaches us the value of effort. In a world that often glorifies shortcuts and quick fixes, it is easy to forget that the most meaningful achievements are born of sustained effort. Instant gratification tells us that results should come easily, that struggle is something to be avoided. But the reality is that struggle and effort are integral to growth. Whether it is learning a new skill, building a career, or pursuing a personal passion, discipline allows us to persevere through challenges, to embrace the process rather than obsess over the outcome. In doing so, we discover a deeper sense of accomplishment and pride, one that no quick fix can replicate. Moreover, discipline reshapes our relationship with time. Instant gratification operates in the present moment, encouraging us to act without regard for the future. Discipline, by contrast, asks us to consider the broader arc of our lives, to recognize that the choices we make today shape the world we will inhabit tomorrow. This shift in perspective is profoundly liberating. It empowers us to take control of our trajectory, to act not as passive consumers of fleeting pleasures, but as active creators of a meaningful life. The practice of discipline also cultivates an inner strength that shields us from the constant pull of instant gratification. It builds resilience, teaching us to sit with discomfort, to endure the tension of wanting something now but choosing to wait. This ability to wait, to resist the easy path, is a skill that serves us in countless ways. It allows us to make decisions based on wisdom rather than impulse, to stay true to our values even in the face of temptation. Over time, this strength becomes a source of empowerment, a reminder that we are not at the mercy of our desires, but are capable of shaping them. The rewards of discipline, though less immediate than those offered by instant gratification, are far more enduring. They are the rewards of growth, of achieving goals that require persistence and determination. They are the rewards of living in alignment with one's values, of knowing that your actions reflect your deepest aspirations rather than momentary whims. These rewards are not fleeting, they accumulate over time, creating a life of depth, purpose, and fulfillment that no instant gratification can match. Discipline, then, is not about deprivation, but about choosing the path that leads to greater joy. It is about learning to navigate the tension between desire and patience, to see beyond the glittering promise of the immediate, and to embrace the slower, richer process of growth and fulfillment. Through discipline, we cultivate a life that is not defined by the pursuit of fleeting pleasures, but by the enduring satisfaction of knowing that we have chosen wisely, acted intentionally, and lived fully. When we talk about freedom, many people envision a life unburdened by restrictions, where one is free to act on every whim, desire, or impulse without external interference. This vision, while alluring, often obscures a crucial truth: the person who lacks self-discipline is rarely free. Instead, they are bound, trapped by habits, desires, and external forces they cannot control. True freedom arises not from the absence of constraints, but from the mastery of oneself. It is through discipline that we reclaim our power, taking control of our actions, thoughts, and decisions to shape a life that reflects our deepest aspirations, rather than the fleeting pull of external circumstances. The person who operates without discipline becomes a puppet to their environment. Their emotions dictate their responses, their impulses dictate their actions, and the demands of the external world dictate their direction. They may feel free because they are following their desires, but they are, in truth, being led by forces outside their control. This kind of freedom is illusory, a chaotic existence where decisions are reactive rather than intentional, and the individual is perpetually at the mercy of their circumstances. Such a life can feel unmoored, as though one is drifting without a rudder, unable to steer toward a destination, because every wave and current pulls them in a different direction. Discipline offers an alternative. It grants you the ability to take the reins of your own life, to act with purpose and clarity rather than reacting impulsively to whatever comes your way. With discipline, you begin to operate from a place of intention, making choices that align with your goals and values rather than being swayed by fleeting temptations or external pressures. This shift from reactivity to intentionality is profound, transforming you from a passive participant in your own life to its active creator. Consider the simple yet profound act of setting boundaries. Without discipline, it's easy to say yes to every request, to overcommit your time and energy to the demands of others, and to lose sight of your own needs and priorities. But this pattern often leads to resentment, burnout, and a sense of being controlled by forces outside yourself. Discipline, however, empowers you to set limits. It gives you the strength to say no when necessary, to protect your time and focus for the things that matter most to you. In doing so, you reclaim your autonomy, creating a life that is guided by your own priorities rather than dictated by external demands. The same principle applies to our inner world. Without discipline, our thoughts and emotions can easily spiral out of control, pulling us into cycles of negativity, doubt, or distraction. A fleeting worry becomes an all-consuming anxiety, a momentary frustration turns into hours of anger. Discipline, however, equips us with the tools to navigate these internal storms. It allows us to pause, to observe our emotions without being overwhelmed by them, and to choose our responses with care. This ability to manage our inner world is a profound form of freedom, one that liberates us from the tyranny of our own minds. Discipline also transforms our relationship with time. Many people feel as though they are constantly running out of time, perpetually overwhelmed by a never-ending list of tasks and obligations. This sense of scarcity often stems not from the actual demands of our lives, but from a lack of focus and intention. Without discipline, time slips through our fingers, consumed by distractions and activities that do not serve our higher goals. Discipline, however, allows us to take control of how we spend our days. By prioritizing what truly matters and eliminating what does not, we create a sense of abundance, where each moment is used purposefully and meaningfully. This mastery over time is a form of freedom that few people ever achieve, yet it is within reach for anyone willing to cultivate discipline. Another aspect of freedom that discipline unlocks is the ability to adapt to change. Life is inherently unpredictable, filled with challenges and surprises that can disrupt our plans and test our resilience. For the undisciplined person, these moments of upheaval can feel overwhelming, as though their world is spiraling out of control. Discipline, however, provides a foundation of stability amidst chaos. It teaches us to respond to change with flexibility and grace, to adapt without losing sight of our values and goals. This adaptability is a form of inner freedom that allows us to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence and strength. Discipline also protects us from the subtle ways in which we give away our freedom. Every time we act out of habit rather than intention, every time we let external validation dictate our choices, every time we allow fear to hold us back, we relinquish a piece of our autonomy. Discipline helps us recognize these patterns and break free from them. It gives us the courage to step out of our comfort zones, to pursue what truly matters to us, even when it feels difficult or uncertain. Through discipline, we reclaim the freedom to live authentically, guided by our own values rather than the expectations of others. Moreover, discipline cultivates a sense of inner strength and resilience that cannot be shaken by external forces. It teaches us that we are capable of enduring discomfort, of persevering through challenges, and of achieving our goals despite obstacles. This strength becomes a source of profound freedom, because it assures us that we can face whatever comes our way without being overwhelmed. It allows us to approach life with confidence and curiosity, knowing that we have the tools to navigate its complexities. In this way, discipline is not a restriction, but a liberation. It frees us from the constraints of impulsivity, from the chaos of external influences, and from the limitations we place on ourselves. It is the practice of taking control of our lives, of choosing our path with intention and purpose, and of living in alignment with our deepest values. Through discipline, we discover a form of freedom that is not fleeting or superficial, but enduring and profound, a freedom that allows us to truly thrive. The connection between discipline and self-respect is one of profound significance, yet it is often overlooked. Discipline, at its core, is not merely about rules or restrictions. It is an act of honoring oneself. It is a declaration that your time, energy, and goals matter, that you are worthy of care, attention, and effort. In practicing discipline, you build a foundation of self-respect that influences every aspect of your life, shaping the way you perceive yourself and interact with the world. This self-respect is not something given by others or born of external validation. It is cultivated through the choices you make and the consistency with which you honor your commitments to yourself. To truly understand this connection, consider the nature of promises. When you make a promise to someone you care about and follow through, you demonstrate respect for that person. You show them that their trust matters and that you value the relationship enough to prioritize it. The same principle applies to the promises you make to yourself. Each time you commit to a goal, a habit, or a value and honor that commitment through disciplined action, you reinforce a message: I matter. Conversely, when you repeatedly break promises to yourself, whether it's skipping a planned workout, neglecting a personal project, or giving in to distractions, you erode that trust, sending a message that your intentions are not worth upholding. This erosion of trust in oneself can have far-reaching consequences. It breeds doubt and insecurity, making it harder to believe in your ability to achieve your goals or follow through on your aspirations. Over time, this doubt can manifest as a deep-seated sense of unworthiness, a feeling that you are incapable of creating the life you desire. Discipline, however, interrupts this cycle. It rebuilds trust by proving time and again that you are capable of honoring your commitments. Each disciplined action, no matter how small, becomes a brick in the foundation of self-respect, creating a sense of inner stability and confidence that cannot be easily shaken. Self-respect through discipline is also deeply tied to the concept of boundaries. Respecting yourself means knowing your limits and protecting your energy, time, and well-being. It means recognizing that not every demand on your attention is worthy of it, and not every opportunity aligns with your values and priorities. Discipline gives you the strength to enforce these boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to stand firm in your decisions. In doing so, you create a life that is not dictated by external pressures or the expectations of others, but guided by your own principles and aspirations. This act of prioritizing yourself is not selfish, but essential, for it lays the groundwork for a life of integrity and purpose. Moreover, discipline fosters self-respect by teaching you to value effort over ease. In a world that often glorifies shortcuts and instant results, it can be tempting to seek the path of least resistance. Yet the things that truly matter, whether it's building meaningful relationships, developing skills, or pursuing long-term goals, require sustained effort and dedication. Discipline is the practice of choosing effort, even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable, because you recognize that the rewards are worth it. Each time you choose effort over ease, you reaffirm your commitment to growth and self-improvement, cultivating a sense of pride in your ability to persevere. The relationship between discipline and self-respect is also evident in the way you treat your body and mind. Discipline in health, for example, is an act of care, a recognition that your physical and mental well-being are worthy of attention. Choosing to exercise, eat nourishing foods, and rest sufficiently are not acts of denial, but expressions of respect for the vessel that carries you through life. Similarly, discipline in managing your thoughts and emotions, practicing mindfulness, setting aside time for reflection, or seeking help when needed is a testament to the value you place on your inner world. These choices, made consistently over time, reinforce a message of self-worth, reminding you that you are deserving of care and attention. Discipline also shapes your self-respect through the pursuit of excellence. To hold yourself to high standards, to strive for improvement, and to take pride in your work are acts of self-honor. Discipline is what allows you to maintain these standards, to put in the necessary effort and resist the temptation to settle for mediocrity. This pursuit is not about perfection or external validation, but about fulfilling your potential and taking pride in what you create. Each time you challenge yourself to do better, to push past limitations, you strengthen your sense of self-respect, proving to yourself that you are capable of greatness. In this way, discipline becomes a form of self-expression. It is a way of saying, through action, that you value yourself and your goals enough to put in the work. It is a rejection of the notion that you are powerless or unworthy, a declaration that you are capable of shaping your life and achieving your aspirations. This self-expression is deeply empowering, for it shifts your perception of yourself from someone who is at the mercy of circumstances to someone who takes ownership of their destiny. The self-respect cultivated through discipline also has a ripple effect on your interactions with others. When you respect yourself, you set a standard for how others treat you. You are less likely to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or neglect, for you recognize your own worth and expect others to do the same. This inner strength allows you to approach relationships from a place of authenticity and confidence, fostering connections that are built on mutual respect and understanding. Ultimately, the practice of discipline is a profound act of self-love.